Back in 2016, Donald Trump called Ted Cruz's wife ugly. And you would think that a man would have at least a little dignity and shun Trump forever after that, but that's not what happened. Ted Cruz later ended up phone banking for Donald Trump and even endorsed him. And so just to remind you guys of what Trump had tweeted about Ted Cruz's wife, here's the offensive tweet, I should say, where he's comparing Ted Cruz's wife, who by the way is not unattractive, that's my opinion, but he's comparing Ted Cruz's wife to Melania Trump. And then following that, Ted Cruz did phone bank for Donald Trump and was basically cuck of the nation. Now, we've always wanted someone to call him out on that to his face. And lucky for you guys, last night, Chris Cuomo delivered. Let's watch.
Governors have taken the lead and have had much greater success. Texas' record on every level is much better than New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts.
That's not true. Look at New York's numbers. Look at the rate every day of testing. My brother puts it out every day.
15,000
they were the hub of where people were coming. You guys want to celebrate China? You let in 40,000 people. It had already moved to Europe.
So Chris,
you let in tens of thousands of people. They went to the hubs. That's why we got so sick.
Does it trouble you at all that New York and New Jersey had the highest death rates in the country? Does that make you pause and say,
gosh? It all troubles me, Ted. And to watch guys like you stand by and stroke your beard like a wise man instead of telling the president to get on it when you have power.
How about tell your brother to get on it?
My brother will stand for his own record. Why don't you talk to the president the way you talk to my brother, Ted? You afraid of him? You think he'll smack you down at home?
Oh,
is that
yeah,
what it is? Like he shut you up in the primary?
Cuomos. You guys
not
are really
Cuomos.
tough.
I'm talking about the president. My brother's not the president. I'm talking about the president, the one who called you a liar, the one who said your wife was ugly. That guy, you know, the guy now who you won't say anything about.
I recognize that you actually wonder why you don't have a lot of Republicans that want to come on your show.
I have more than any other show.
I got goosebumps. I got real excited watching that. Is that wrong? There's
I'd
something.
say, look.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's part of why we like Cuomo better than the other guys, right? And he's right. He does have a lot of Republicans on, and at least during the primaries, he had progressives on too, which is more than any other cable show. And so, but it doesn't mean you have to be soft with them. The question that he asked Ted Cruz is one that should have been asked a million times by a million anchors. The guy called your wife ugly and your dad a murderer. You're phone banking for him. Isn't that strange? It's actually the easiest, most obvious question. But you know why they don't ask it? Because of exactly what Ted Cruz said right afterwards. You wonder why you don't have Republicans on your show. In other words, if you dare challenge us, even with obvious questions, we'll never come on your show. We'll cut off your access. So usually they're implicit with their threat. But you saw Ted Cruz's face change when Cuomo brought up that point. Before he had that smug face like, oh yeah, we're jousting, we're having fun. I'm obfuscating every point. Nobody can tell, everybody will call it a tie. What? When he made the wife point, his face changed. And then he's like, oh yeah, you wonder why you never have Republicans on. That's it, we're gonna take away your precious access. Okay, I get it. I have choice words for him. I don't know if I can say them on air. Well, actually, Trump already said it, and then he became his bitch. Oops, there you go.
There's something about Cuomo, and I mean, I'm sure that we have disagreements on policy and politics, whatever, putting all of that aside and simply honing in on his, for lack of a better word, I guess, temper. I really relate to that. Like the way he handled that is exactly how I would want to handle it, right? Like it's not just the fact that he called Ted Cruz out for supporting Trump and refusing to stand up to him after he said all these incredibly insulting things about Ted Cruz's family members. It's also this unwillingness, like the fact that he called him out on his unwillingness to ever speak up or ever cross Donald Trump. Like, what, you're afraid of him? You're afraid of him? Like, yeah, they are. They're afraid of them and afraid of Trump. And I love that it was just clearly stated in this exchange in the way that I think it needs to be stated. Not like, oh, let me do a little nudge here, maybe a little poke there. No, he's like, what? You're afraid of him? Why don't you call him out? Why don't you hold him accountable for his failures? And it's not just about Ted Cruz. It's about every prominent Republican in the Republican Party who just stands by and allows Donald Trump to do whatever he wants, even if it goes against what their alleged principles have been for decades now. I mean, on every issue, Donald Trump makes a mockery of what Republicans claim they stood for. And they just stand back and they allow it to happen because they're afraid. They're totally afraid of Trump. That's been the one, I guess, highlight of Trump's administration. He didn't just cuck Ted Cruz, he's cucked all of them.
Yeah, I mean, what he did to Lindsey Graham and how Lindsey Graham then bowed his head and started kissing Donald Trump's boots. Oh, it was so wonderfully pathetic. Maybe we should be running some, Rebellion PAC should be running some ads in South Carolina. That little, anyway. So, but one more thing about Ted Cruz's cowardice. Look, guys, think about it. I mean, I know me. I'd rather not win any political office. I'd rather not than to kiss the ass of a guy who called my dad a murderer, who made that up and smeared my dad like that. I love my dad, man. There's no amount of power or money or fame or anything else that would get me to betray my family like that. And then he calls your wife ugly, and at the time he's like, Donald Trump, I won't stand for it. I will get you, blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, he's like, oh, please help elect Donald Trump. Okay, oh God. Oh, that's why when he was running as Beto O'Rourke, we called that race Beto versus Beta. He's really, they're like the weakest. There he is. Oh, I love that picture. And he's got this fur, like, oh, please vote for Trump. Oh. He's almost like crying in that picture. So these guys who love to bully other people, at the slightest challenge, they back down because internally, they're the biggest cowards in the world. The only reason Ted Cruz even went on Cuomo's show is because he's trying to sell a book. And Cuomo gave him 20 minutes and he let him talk about the book at the end. He gave him a whole couple of minutes to just do a one big ad for the book and said, that's why he's on there. But normally he hides, he's like, right? And so when he's not on air, he'll say, oh, Fredo this and that, the other thing. And then he goes on air and he gets his ass kicked. By the way, Ted, you're trying to sell a book. Come on, the Young Turks. We got 500 million views a month. I mean, maybe you'll sell a lot of books. A lot of right wingers watch us. Remember the 2016 election? Come and see, right? He won't come on. No way. It's inconceivable that Ted Cruz could take any of us on. Inconceivable. He will fold like a lawn chair.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.